On a frigid February morning, the tranquility of Chicago's North Side was shattered by an act of unimaginable brutality. It was St. Valentine's Day, 1929. Inside a seemingly ordinary garage, 7 men lay lifeless, victims of a carefully orchestrated hit that would forever stain the city's history. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre, as it came to be known, was a chilling testament to the brutal reality of organized crime during the Prohibition era. It was a time when gangsters like Al Capone and Bugs Moran ruled the streets, their empires built on illegal booze, gambling, and vice. This wasn't just another gangland killing, it was a calculated massacre that shocked the nation and exposed the dark underbelly of America's booming cities. The blood-soaked garage on Clark Street became a grim symbol of the lawlessness and violence that gripped the country. But beyond the headlines and the sensationalism, the St. Valentine's Day Massacre was a human tragedy, a story of ambition, betrayal, and revenge that left an indelible mark on American history. To understand the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, we must first journey back to the Roaring Twenties, a time of unprecedented social and cultural change. America was in the throes of Prohibition, a nationwide ban on the production, sale, and transportation of alcohol. What began as a well-intentioned social experiment backfired spectacularly. Instead of curbing alcohol consumption, Prohibition fueled the rise of organized crime. With legal liquor off limits, a lucrative black market emerged, controlled by ruthless gangsters who were more than willing to use violence to protect their turf. Chicago, with its central location and bustling port, became a hub for the illegal liquor trade. Bootleggers smuggled in vast quantities of Canadian whiskey and illicitly distilled their own, supplying speakeasies and underground saloons that flourished in defiance of the law. The enormous profits to be made from bootlegging led to fierce competition between rival gangs, turning Chicago into a battleground where violence was the preferred method of settling disputes. Two figures loomed large over Chicago's underworld, Al Capone and George "Bugs" Moran. Capone, with his trademark scar and ruthless ambition, was a larger-than-life figure who cultivated an image as a benevolent gangster, a friend of the working man. Behind the expensive suits and the carefully crafted persona, Capone was a ruthless criminal mastermind who controlled a vast network of bootleggers, speakeasies, and brothels. His South Side outfit was a formidable force, feared for its brutality and its reach. Moran, on the other hand, was a more traditional gangster, a product of the Irish-American underworld. His North Side gang was a constant thorn in Capone's side, controlling territory that cut into the outfit's lucrative bootlegging operations. The rivalry between Capone and Moran was both personal and professional. They were vying for control of the same territory, the same profits, and the same power. But it went beyond mere business. It was a clash of egos, a battle for supremacy in Chicago's criminal underworld. As the 1920s wore on, the rivalry between Capone and Moran intensified. Each gang committed acts of violence against the other, a deadly game of tit-for-tat that escalated with each passing month. Capone's men were suspected in the deaths of several of Moran's associates, and Moran, in turn, retaliated with attacks on Capone's operations. The violence reached a fever pitch in the months leading up to the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. In 1929 alone, there were over 100 gangland murders in Chicago, a grim testament to the city's descent into lawlessness. Rumors swirled that Moran was planning to kill Capone, and Capone, never one to be outdone, was said to be plotting his rival's demise. The city held its breath, bracing for the inevitable explosion. On the morning of February 14th, 1929, a Cadillac sedan pulled up outside a garage at 2122 North Clark Street. Inside the garage, 7 men, most of them members of Bugs Moran's gang, were gathered, perhaps expecting a shipment of illicit liquor. 4 men emerged from the Cadillac, 2 of them dressed in police uniforms. They stormed the garage, lining their victims up against the wall. For a moment there was silence, a pregnant pause before the storm. Then, the deafening roar of gunfire shattered the morning calm. The gunmen, armed with Thompson submachine guns and a shotgun, unleashed a torrent of lead, cutting down their victims in a hail of bullets. The massacre was over in minutes, leaving behind a scene of unimaginable carnage. News of the massacre spread like wildfire, sending shockwaves across the nation. The sheer brutality of the crime, carried out in broad daylight on a day associated with love and romance, horrified the public. Despite a massive investigation, no one was ever convicted of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. The 4 gunmen were believed to be members of or affiliated with Capone's outfit, but they were never definitively identified. Al Capone, though widely suspected of ordering the hit, had an alibi, conveniently claiming to be out of town at the time. The massacre cemented Capone's reputation as a ruthless gangster, but it also marked a turning point in his career. The public, once fascinated by the exploits of Capone and his ilk, grew increasingly repulsed by the violence and lawlessness. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre became a symbol of everything that was wrong with prohibition and the unintended consequences of trying to legislate morality. The echoes of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre reverberate to this day. It remains one of the most infamous crimes in American history, a chilling reminder of the dark side of the Roaring Twenties. The massacre also had a profound impact on law enforcement, leading to the creation of new federal agencies and a crackdown on organized crime. The garage on Clark Street, once a silent witness to an unspeakable act of violence, has been demolished, but the memory of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre endures. It is a story that continues to fascinate and horrify, a reminder that even in the midst of prosperity and progress, darkness can lurk around every corner.